quick introduction. My name is Julian with the game Fanatics. And yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. So I got a chance to play the game yesterday. It was a ton of fun. But one of the first things I noticed when playing is that compared to things maybe like Valorant or Call of Duty, there's a certain weight that I felt when it comes to the different characters, or just moving through the map. Uh, so I was wondering, and either if you can answer this, um, was there a certain kind of feel or a certain type of yeah, I would just stick with feel. Was there a certain type of feel that you all wanted to go with when it came to XDefiant to kind of differentiate yourselves from the competition?
I can
You
take
want to
this
take
one.
this one, Pat? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, our movement is really important to kind of get right, and it's something that we've over time, over the last year with insider sessions, when we gauged feedback and done surveys, is kind of just really judge what our fans are expecting. Um, we've we've tweaked those numbers quite a bit to get to the sweet spot. We do feel that we're in a pretty good spot right now, and it's something that we're going to keep evaluating. But as far as wanting to kind of attack a specific feel, we just want our gunplay and our movement to feel true to the game, to the size of the maps that we're playing in, and we think we're in a pretty good place right now.
Cool, cool. And speaking of the maps, I think you all announced there would be like 12 or 14 maps at launch. Um, when it came to the various different factions or characters, were there abilities kind of taken into consideration when designing the various maps?
I can take this one. Um, no, because we want players to be able to pick any kind of faction and weapon selection and be viable in any of the maps. And so these maps are pretty well balanced for just our overall style of gameplay, which is a fast-paced
Hmm.
6v6. So um, you don't need to have to play, let's say, a cleaners on this specific map or echelon on this other map.
Okay, okay. So do you have, I guess between the two of you, do you all have a preference? Like, do you stick with maybe one faction or a character just throughout all of the game modes, or do you kind of switch it up based on the various game modes you're playing?
You want to take this or you want me to take this one?
We're gonna be
Both
both
answer it.
could. Yeah, you can go first. Yeah, we'll both answer.
Okay. So what I love about this is you can change up at any time too. You can start off as playing a cleaners and go, you know what? I think the situation requires me. Our team actually really needs somebody on intel, so I'm going to switch to echelon. So depending on the mode, depending on my team composition, I'll switch up my factions and loadouts at any given moment.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, I would say when I started out, I was leaning toward one faction because I was really familiar with them. But as I tried more and more, I got to the point where I'm, map to map, game inside the game, I'm switching nonstop. You do kind of forfeit your ultra progress when you do make that switch, and sometimes that risk is worth it. So I would say over time, I've as I've learned our game modes and our maps, I've just become like very aware of the best faction for the specific situation I'm going for. And yeah, I'm constantly switching up.
Okay. So as I played, I think my favorite was Echelon, and this can be for each one of you. What would be your favorite faction?
I'll start again. My favorite faction currently are the cleaners. I'm just kind of a want to burn the world type of guy right now.
Mine definitely started out as Echelon, but I've actually been playing a lot of DeadSec recently. I think their ult is just there's nothing as satisfying as like when Scott's on cleaners and he's popped his purifier is canceling that out. So I'm a big DeadSec advocate right now.
You're a troll.
Cool, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it was a ton of fun playing with DeadSec for sure. I think when I took the time to kind of switch it up because I was locked in with Echelon for a long time, and when I switched over and tried the cleaners, I was like, oh, I feel like a juggernaut. This is great. Uh, um, so I know that there was mention of like new factions, new characters coming in over time. I'm not sure if you all know if there's any plan around the release cadence when it comes to those updates.
So I can take this one. So right now we really want to focus on the closed beta and just stay tuned for our future things coming down the line.
Cool, cool. Let's see. So I kind of asked a few of these out of order, um, but I asked about the favorite character, favorite faction. Do you all have like a favorite? And I'll do both. Favorite map and game mode.
For me, my favorite game mode is Hot Shot, and I like playing it on Arena. It's extremely chaotic and kind of a confined space, and so you're constantly running around and trying to avoid people and trying to chase people down, and um, that's my current favorite combination.
Yeah, for me, I think my favorite game mode is Hot Shot, but my favorite combination is probably Echelon HQ Domination. There's something about just being in that map that is so immersive, and it's a blast to play it every time.
Cool, cool. Sorry, let me look through this really quick. I go throughout my list. Um, so with uh, I guess Patrick, with you having a past in the competitive space, what do you think sets XDefiant apart from like Valorant, Call of Duty? Because I think you did. It was Call of Duty was your main um, competitive. Okay, what do you think kind of separates this game apart from the rest?
Yeah, so for me, my one of my biggest things are time to kill. Time to kill being a bit on the higher side allows for each of these engagements to feel more rewarding. When you do get a kill, when you get a multi kill, and with that, I really love how our movement kind of balances with our gunplay. There's something so satisfying about hitting like the perfect slide jump around a corner or whatever it is to catch your opponent off guard. And then also I want to add to that our linear modes. I think our linear modes is something that really is going to help us stand out. We've done some internal tests with pro players from multiple titles, and something they all love is how our linear modes play when we play them competitively. And it's always a good time, and it always goes down to the wire. So I think that's those three things are really what's going to help us stand out.
Cool, cool. And I do have to agree. I'll just throw that in there that there was never a time where I felt cheated or where I spawned in at a space and it's like, why would you even think to put me here? So um, definitely had a ton uh, of fun with that. And then one of my last questions, and this may be opinion based, um, but do you think there is, and this can be for each one of you as well, a benefit to having kind of like a mixed team, or say if a team wants to go all echelon or all cleaners, do you think there's like a benefit or a synergy or a detriment to doing something like
So I guess I'll start as as usual.
that?
Um, what's great is these factions can kind of cater and as you experience like to a individual's play style, and whatever a player is most comfortable with is what they should be going for. And so it really doesn't matter. But in like the higher level play, like when we get all our most sweaty people and we put them together for really competitive, you find that having different factions that kind of shore up weaknesses or supporting the team in different ways is kind of key.
Yeah, I would add that there's always a balance to it, right? Whether a team is stacking, to one faction, there's always a counter, and I think that's something that's it's kind of a risk reward situation when your team is building that composition of which factions, because all of our factions do interact with each other in terms of who counters who and kind of like that when you think about it like that. So um, to Scott's point, though, when we match up, not only are players considering their roles, but also you're making a choice based on what the opposing team, which factions they're running.
Okay. So just adding on to that the counters and things like that. Um, I don't know if I want to. put that out there. Yeah, so I was thinking, because I was like, okay, what would be like, say for a cleaner, for instance, what would be kind of the cleaner's natural enemy, or vice versa?
I mean, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Libertad does a decent job at countering the cleaners, mainly because of the fire burn. Right, the cleaners have multiple abilities that put fire patches on the ground that burn your enemy, and also their incendiary rounds passive trait. And Libertad does a solid job of kind of healing through that with not only their abilities but their passive trait as well. So that's a pretty good example of where one faction can get the edge over another.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I'll leave the rest for everybody, for other people to kind of discover as they get a chance to play. But I definitely appreciate you all taking the time out to talk with me a little bit about more about XDefiant. And yeah, I mean that was my last question, and yeah, I can't wait to play more.
Thanks, Julian.
Thank you
Glad
so
you
much,
enjoyed it.
Julian.
Thank you.
See you in the closed beta.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll be there.